Welcome to the October 10th edition of studentloanjustice.org. This is our live stream. Welcome. We're glad you found us. What took you so long? We are the nation's oldest and largest, and in many ways only true grassroots group actually fighting for student loan justice. For student loan justice. For the first 16 years of our existence, that meant very moderately the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. But here now, today, I am here to tell you that this lending system is now catastrophically failed. Put a fork in it. It's done. Even before the pandemic, 80% of all borrowers were never going to be able to repay their student loans. So we were certainly headed for a default rate of something like 75% before the pandemic. So this is just terrible, and it can't continue. It's maybe too late to return bankruptcy protections only at this late date in the death spiral of the lending system. It's time to cancel the loans. Has to happen. So I'm very glad to report to you that we started a petition in March of last year with what at the time was a very novel idea, and this novel idea was that the president and Secretary of Education can cancel all federally owned student loans by executive order without needing to raise one dime from Congress, without adding even one penny to the national debt. So I'm very happy to report to you tonight that we have just over 1,060,000 signatures, and that's great. But quite frankly, we should have 30 plus million signatures on this thing. So if I can see your comments, please throw them out, and I'm very happy to respond to them. We're kind of doing a new thing here. This is a new Facebook thing that we're doing. So I'm not 100% that I can even see the comments right now, but if I can see them, I certainly will respond to them. So, what's going on? Things have gotten very busy very quickly around this issue, even certainly over the past 2 years, but over the past even couple months, it's gotten very. It's like something big happens like every couple of days now. The most recent news is that at long last, the Department of Education has announced. They haven't done it yet. They've announced that they're going to overhaul the public service loan forgiveness program. So this news broke last week. So where 98.4% of everyone in public service loan forgiveness had been disqualified out of the program, so they didn't dot an I, cross a T. Maybe one of their payments was like a penny off. So 98% of the people trying for public service got disqualified. Well, lo and behold, after a 60 Minutes piece aired last Sunday, a week ago tonight, on Wednesday, the Department of Education announced that they are going to be overhauling the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program so that, at least according to them, something like 40,000 people are likely to now get their loans canceled, and another 550,000 are likely to get a lot of their payments counted that didn't count before. I spoke to this at pretty good length on Wednesday, so I'm not going to belabor the point. But I will only issue a couple of words of caution. Well, first of all, the best news about this is that indeed it proves that the president and the secretary can go around Congress and they can cancel loans without having to get some nonsense legislation passed. And also without having to draw any money from the Treasury. That's the most important point. Again, though, watch my live stream from last Wednesday. We don't give advice, but I think it's premature for anyone to rush out and consolidate their loans into the direct program, which is one of the criteria for getting loans canceled, even through this revised program. Let's say overhauled program. That's a little confusing to say revised. So that's a very good thing, but as with everything, guys, talk is cheap. Department of Education makes their living, I'm not going to say lying, but making commitments that they have no intention of upholding. That's what they've done ever since we've been looking at this program from 2006 onward. And, I might add, 60 Minutes did a very much stronger piece on the student loan issue 15 plus years ago, May 2006, which, by the way, we were the featured interview in. Me and our members, very strong piece, far, far stronger than the piece we saw last week. And yet here we are, guys, 15 years later. So, yeah, I'm just saying, guys, don't believe anything you hear the Department of Education say. What they say versus what they do are almost always two very, very different things. So, I have a couple of announcements to make. Number one, sign up for our film screening this coming Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific time. Not East Coast time, Pacific time, so it's pretty late on the East Coast. 7 to 9 p.m. this Thursday, we are screening our film, episode 1 of our film series at the USC Film School. If you're watching us on Facebook, and I hope you are, you can look down and you can see the link to register for this free screening. It's going to be pretty cool. Senator Chuck Schumer, believe it or not, is giving the opening remarks for that. The president of the university is also giving some opening remarks there. And it also just happens to be my alma mater, so that's kind of a cool thing. So please sign up for that. It will be interesting and fun. It's a Zoom thing, so I think that you can ask questions, you can participate in this discussion, etc. Also, I want to give two shout outs. One to Derek Williams in North Carolina. Derek got a letter to the editor published in, I think, one or two of his local newspapers in the state of North Carolina, ripping into some horrible legislators there, like Virginia Fox, Raymond Budd, Tom Tillis, Richard Burr, Madison Cawthorn, some terrible, terrible legislators, who all happen to be Republican, by the way. Let me quickly do a little aside here and tell everyone, no matter what party you affiliate yourself with, you are very welcome in this group. We are a fiercely non-partisan group. And I know if you only watch the first 6 minutes of this live stream, you're like, okay, you're doing this thing with Chuck Schumer and you're saying terrible things about Republicans. So what's going on with this group? Are you guys like Antifa, or like, are you just part of the far left? No, we're not. We are a fiercely nonpartisan group. We point the finger where the finger needs to point. And in years past, that has included Democrats, like most recently including Joe Biden, who, quite frankly, is just absolutely terrible on the student loan issue. Having said that, in Congress, and there's a very important bill that we're working on right now, S-2598, that will return bankruptcy protection to student loans. We actually have more Republicans than Democrats on that bill right now, which is a great thing. But historically, I have to acknowledge that Republicans have opposed us at every step in the way. Democrats aren't great, guys, believe me. It's a pretty rare day that I can say anything good about even Democrats in Congress. But having said that, Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer took the concept of canceling student loans by executive order, and while I give our group, quite frankly, the lion's share of the credit for getting that concept off the ground, I have to be honest and acknowledge that it was Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer in the Senate that got that concept really rolling, like really rolling. And that's a good thing. That's a great thing. We're very glad that they did. Similarly, the squad, so whoever that is, AOC and Ilhan Omar and some other supposedly far left members of Congress, recently issued the president an ultimatum of 2 weeks. He has 2 weeks to come up with the legal memo that he requested way back in February about whether or not the president does indeed or does not indeed have the power to cancel loans by executive order. We're thrilled that they did that. My honest analysis, however, is that it's a good thing. We're glad they did it. But at the same time, every time the squad does anything, the Republicans, just by visceral instinct, take the other side of that issue. And lo and behold, if you go to Real America Voice or Newsmax, they're like, oh yeah, look, the squad wants to cancel student loans. And And that doesn't help us, guys. It does not help us. It does not help us to have Republicans opposing us. This is not a bipartisan issue. It is not. You show me the southern state, and I will show you a state that is getting absolutely wrecked by federal student loan debt. I will show you a state where probably half, probably more than half, of the people with student loans in that state, 80% of whom are being completely wrecked, are either Republicans or independents. So like the state of Georgia, for example, state of Georgia's state budget is $48 billion. The people of Georgia owe $82 billion in student loan debt. Of those, I think almost 2 million people, fully 60% of them are either Republican or Democratic. So either blue or red. It's all nonsense to me in the first place, guys. I can't stand either party, but it is a fact that the majority of student loan borrowers in Georgia are either Republican or independent. So Republicans have no business opposing the return of bankruptcy to student loans, and they are doing that with very much less frequency these days, I'm very glad to report, but also student loan cancellation. This is a big government failed, college enriching, some would even say socialistic lending monstrosity that in very conservative parlance needs to be taken to the bath and drown in the tub. So there's no good reason for Republicans to be opposing us. So by seeing the squad stand, almost anything the squad says, the Republicans do the opposite type of thing. So whatever. But we're glad to see that. So Derek, return to the point, Derek got a great letter to the editor published that called out the nonsense of Virginia Fox, Raymond Budd, the other people in North Carolina. Enough student loan debt to buy every farm in North Carolina, by the way, which Derek pointed out. Now, my question to you all is, why are all of you, including you listening to me right now, not doing that? Anybody can write a letter to the editor of their local newspaper. I've done it like hundreds, probably dozens of times, maybe even, probably not hundreds. Well, I've done it hundreds of times. I've gotten it published like dozens of times. It's not hard to do, guys, is my point. Why are you not doing that? Something very easy that you can do. The chances are that your state either owes more than the entire state budget in student loan debt, or it's quite close. Like over a third of states, that is true. So good on Derek. Follow his example. I also want to give a shout out to Michael Jacobs in Pennsylvania. Michael did an interview with a homeless guy in what I think is around Philadelphia over the past week or so. And so this guy has like $60-something thousand in student loan debt, and he's homeless. And anyways, see the interview for yourself. It's up on Twitter. It's up on our group. It's only like a 15-second thing, but it's very strong, very powerful. And I would venture to say that no matter where you live, well, depending on where you live, you may very well have a very large and growing homeless community in your area. And a significant fraction of those homeless people probably have student loan debt. I kid you not. Might be worth your while to do a 15, 20, 30-second phone interview with them. And ask them permission, by the way, to throw it up on the internet. Which I'm not sure that Michael did, but maybe he should. But yeah, anybody, again, it's a great video. It's very strong. I think it may go kind of viral-ish on Twitter and stuff, maybe on Facebook. We can use that stuff. That's the kind of thing that we love. Content is important. People need to be telling their stories. People need to see the normal guys. And like this homeless guy was not like a drug-addled, freak or anything like that. He just seemed like basically a normal guy who's down on his luck. We love that. Getting people's stories out there in a relatable human way is very important. So good on Michael Jacobs. We are sending that to the governor and the senator, Pat Toomey in particular, of Pennsylvania. I think it will probably have a good effect. And on that note, if you are an artist or an aspiring artist, join our audio visual club on Facebook. Heather Taylor and I know Vanessa and Michael and some other people, they are going great guns creating awesome content, like stuff for TikTok and Twitter and all that stuff. Hey, Michael, there he is. As I said, guys, there's so much that art can do and say that a talking head like me will just never be able to make the point. I can sit here until I'm blue in the face and with limited impact. Art, nonverbal stuff often speaks way louder than words, is my point. So, everybody can do that stuff. Look for us on Facebook. It's the Audio Visual Club. And we're expecting some pretty awesome, cool things from them to come. We've already done like some cool little 15-second videos at Mount Rushmore. I think, who is it? Was it Vanessa? Did a great video of how to compost your student loans. We would love for people to send in 15, 30-second clips, even 10-second clips of them destroying their student loan papers. I mean, I think, and hopefully you agree, that the time has come for that. In fact, I would say that was about 3 to 4 years ago. It's time to take this lending system to the bath and drown it in the tub, I will say for the second time tonight. And, like speaking of Philadelphia, I did a video myself of me like tearing up my loans, throwing them in the air in that super famous park in Philadelphia, actually in 2016. But it's stuff like that which really makes a difference. We're in the TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, instant generation, right? So that's all great. So right now, there's two things that we're working on. One is bankruptcy. Maybe the most important thing I'll tell you tonight is that I don't think we will see meaningful loan cancellation until we get the constitutional right of bankruptcy returned to us. Think about it. We've seen all manner of loan cancellation programs come and go over the past 20 plus years. Far less than 1% of the people trying for all of these very friendly sounding loan cancellation programs have ever actually gotten any of their loans canceled. That's how the Department of Education rolls. They have no desire or intentions of canceling any loans. And even this thing we saw with public service this week. Don't hold your breath, guys. Don't hold your breath. With the threat of bankruptcy removed from these loans, and also the threat of statutes of limitations, but bankruptcy is probably the most important one. The Department of Education will continue to do everything it can do to not cancel loans. Even if Congress passes a program, even if Joe Biden commands them to start fixing the public service loan forgiveness program, Joe Biden or any president telling the secretary to cancel the loans, like cancel the loans, that would happen. But I don't think that's going to happen without the threat of bankruptcy returned. So now hear me out, guys. With the threat of bankruptcy returned, all of a sudden Joe Biden's like, oh shit, I don't want to be the president that forced 25 plus million of our citizens into bankruptcy. That's probably not going to stimulate the economy. It's not going to be a super great thing that makes me look like a hero. It's probably not going to even maybe get us many votes. What it's going to do is force 25 million people into bankruptcy for the crime of going to college. So nobody wants to be that president. So with the threat of bankruptcy back on our side, all of a sudden it's like, okay, we have to get very serious about actually canceling loans now. We can't just continue to say and do things and not actually do anything. We can't kick the can down the road any further. Bankruptcy's back. So it's kind of like, I'm going to say fish or cut bait. There's another analogy I could say, but it's pretty obscene. Something about doing something or getting off the pot, I think, is how that goes. But bankruptcy is absolutely incredibly important. That's the first thing we're fighting for, honestly. If I had a choice today between some nonsense loan cancellation, this up to $50,000 loan cancellation, or bankruptcy, I would pick bankruptcy in a heartbeat. Which brings me to the second thing that we're fighting for. Bankruptcy is number one. Second thing is loan cancellation. I think the first thing will lead to the second thing. I don't think that we can skip over the first thing and the second thing will happen. except in a very limited circumstance. Here's the one circumstance where I could see the president simply canceling all loans without bankruptcy being returned. If a significant number of Republican governors were to stand up as a group and say, Mr. President, enough. I'm Brian Kemp in Georgia, governor of Georgia. I will not let my great state of Georgia be wrecked by this federal debt. Or I'm Governor Greg Abbott of Texas, and my people owe way more than our state budget and student loan debt. I will not let that happen on my watch. Mr. President, cancel the loans. If we can get the governors of Georgia, Texas, Florida, Ron DeSantis, Ohio, Mike DeWine, Indiana, South Carolina, Governor McMaster, there's a ton of states, okay? New Hampshire, South Dakota, Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina. Did I say Alabama? Anyways, there's a bunch of red states that are underwater on their student loans. In other words, their people owe more than their entire state budget in student loan debt. Those governors, the states that I just mentioned, if we can get even 2 or 3 of them to stand up as a group and say, Mr. President, cancel the loans, I think that could very quickly lead to the cancellation of 100% of all federally owned student loans. That's 90% of all student loan debt. So I hope that what I just said is clear. Watch this video again if it wasn't. There are two very important things. S-2598 in the Senate is the bill that must pass. That's for bankruptcy. On loan cancellation, the quickest thing we can do is reach the governors of those states that I just mentioned, and maybe a few others that I didn't mention, but anyways. So S-2598 is the important thing on the first thing, bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is the most important thing. Pushing those governors is the most important thing on the second thing. Go to our website, studentloanjustice.org. If you want to be pulling your weight, and you have to, guys, you have to. Because unless everybody, or at least a significant percentage of the people on our group and on our petition, which is way over 1 million people, unless a significant percentage of those people, like half, get off their asses, this lending system is gone. I guarantee you, this lending system is gone. It's done. It's toast. And it will be officially gone, officially and cleanly dead, so that you and me and everyone on this group can get on with our lives. Only when a significant percentage, like 50%, I think, maybe, get off their asses and do the effort necessary to get bankruptcy passed, to get the loans canceled. I just don't know that it's going to happen. Fight with us. Fight with us. You can't not sit on the sidelines and wait and watch and worry and hope that somebody else is going to pull your weight for you. Ain't going to happen. It never worked. We've been doing this for 16, going on 17 years now, and I can tell you that when you sitting there do nothing, nothing happens. So help with those two things. Go to our website, go to the daily update section of the website, and scroll down and do the past month worth of daily actions. They are very quick. Like sometimes they only literally take like 5 seconds. It's like retweet this and retweet that is usually a daily action. Do that. If you do that, then you will be able to say that at least at a minimum, you are pulling your weight. That's like the minimum that you can do. So studentloanjustice.org/daily-update. Yeah, we must all work. That's exactly right, Michael from Pennsylvania. And as the Amish say, speaking of Pennsylvania, I think the Amish say this, many hands make heavy work light. You know, we have got a huge ship that we're on, but we've got a ton of people in the hold. And they all have an oar in their hand. And when we all row in the same direction, we're done. I'm telling you guys, there's so much power. We have such a huge muscle to flex in this group. You have no idea. But that's only going to matter when you help us flex that. You know, we are the pioneers, guys. This group We're the thing that made bankruptcy even an issue in the presidential campaign. We're the thing that made loan cancellation by executive order, which is, by the way, the only way that loans are actually going to get canceled, a big thing. It started here with this group. So, I'm not going to beg you. I mean, why should I? These are your loans. This is your problem. But I am telling you, and you should damn well believe me, that this group is what is making this whole thing happen. Throughout the history of humankind, change has only happened when normal people like you and me and Michael and everyone else have gotten off their asses and done the little bit of work necessary. We've never been in a better position, guys. We've never been in a better position to get these loans gone. Off my back, off your back, so that we can move on with our lives. I want that more than anything. I hope you do too, and I hope that you will help. So please do that. The very last thing maybe I'll say is if you can donate at this time, be super helpful. We had to do an emergency laptop purchase this week. And by the way, thanks to a whole bunch of people who helped us raise $275 for that laptop. We can't do this without you guys. We need not much money at all to survive and win this battle, but we can't do it without you. We can't do it on nothing, as they say, as I always say. So please donate if you can. studentloanjustice.org/donate.something. Appreciate it. Get ready to rock, guys. This is right now. We're on the wave. We're surfing. We're on the wave. We were paddling for many years. We're now looking at that wave. It's like right there, and we're about to catch it. We need you to help us catch that wave and get this thing to shore. So before I make one more bad analogy, I'm just going to sign off and say, get this done. Good luck. Godspeed. And God bless everybody.